Um, the topic I want to talk about to end this podcast is the topic of DVD, or really, we could just go with Blu-rays. Blu-rays of films that deserve to be on that format, of films that are not on that format yet, and we feel that should be. Um, One I want to talk about right off the bat is one that technically is on Blu-ray, but it's out of print, and that is the iconic zombie film Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 zombie masterpiece from George A. Romero. What's especially frustrating about this is that Romero's passed away, and we still don't have a remastered Blu-ray of this movie with new. You can have new interviews, new features. That's fine too, but it's the transfer itself, which is the thing that I cannot believe we don't have. Recently, Screen Factory just released a collector's edition of the remake, but we do not have a collector's edition of the original. And what's especially frustrating about this is the story behind that. Apparently, a few years ago, Richard Rubenstein spent a shit ton of money trying to, not trying to, he actually did this. He spent a shit ton of money converting Dawn into a 3D movie. And this business venture did not work out well. It ended up becoming a sunken cost for him. Maybe he maybe he didn't actually get it converted, because maybe he did, or maybe it wasn't good enough or something. But I don't know exactly what happened with that. But the thing is, there's definitely some sunken cost, and it's like a really sizable chunk of change. And because of this, Richard Rubenstein is being a tightwad and an asshole, and any company that's trying to ask for the rights to distribute Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray or on home video, he's asking for a ridiculous amount of money in order to get those rights. Something I've heard rumors like something in like the seven figures range. So that makes it so any company that tries to get the rights to Dawn of the Dead, they're fucked. They can't make any money. So they don't
Or,
decide to
or you
get the
have to be
rights.
rich as fuck.
You have to be rich as fuck.
For
And even
Richie.
though,
For Richie
Shout
Rich.
Factory and these other companies like Arrow are doing fairly well, they're not doing that well.
Fuck Richard Rubenstein. Fuck Richie Rich. He didn't make the fucking movie. He didn't direct the fucking
I know.
movie. I know he owns it. Fuck him. Take every fucking dollar bill and shove it up his ass. Fuck Richie Rich.
I know, when I heard that, that just really pissed me off.
And not the actual Richie Rich. We're talking about this fuckwit.
He's produced a lot of things that I like, but and he's
That
also the reason
doesn't.
why Martin is not getting a release either, because he's asking for too much money to distribute that as well.
It's not even his fucking movies, really. It's George Romero's movies. You fucking asshole.
Yeah, it is a really big asshole move on his part.
Guy passed away and you're fucking ditch. Fuck you. Eat shit and live.
But I did manage recently, though. My search is over. I did manage to get my hands on a copy of the Anchor Bay Blu-ray of Dawn of the Dead, um, and I got it off of a Facebook group where the guy was also selling the other two films, the Anchor Bay release of Day of the Dead and Region B release of the original Night of the Living Dead. I'm not super big on the original Night of the Living Dead, but as a package deal, that was a really good deal. I pretty much paid $20 for the Anchor Bay Blu-ray, which is an insane deal. So the wait was worth it, and I'm pretty much set in terms of like movies and stuff. Like that was like a last purchase. It was like, all right, I'm good, I'm good, because I've been looking for that for a long time, and I think I did see that on Blu-ray. When it first came out, and I never even thought it was going to be out of print, so I didn't bother buying it. I'm not the only one who's in that boat. And with this whole shit with Richard Rubenstein, I felt like it was a good buy, because I don't think, and unless he passes away, but maybe he might put some fucking shit on his will that makes it so whoever, he wants has the rights to, and it's still the crazy amount of money. I don't know. I have no idea. It's so up in the air, and it's so frustrating because this is one of the most iconic horror films of all time,
It is.
and we don't have a collector's edition Blu-ray from Scream Factory or Arrow Video. Arrow did one a long time ago, but that's out of print. Might as well not count, if you ask me. Especially nowadays. It's extremely hard to find. Deserves to be remastered in 4K. But it looks like we're not going to get that, which really sucks. It bites. But there is a overseas release that is of the Dario Argento cut.
Yes, I was a very nice person sent me the Blu-ray set of Zombie, aka Dawn of the Dead, because he knew I was a big fan of Dawn of the Dead. Love my favorite zombie film of all time, and checked it out. Sadly, it made sense considering where it came from. The Dario Argento cut is the one that has the most done to it, picture quality wise. Seem like the colors are much stronger, while the theatrical US cut and extended cut, the colors seem a bit more washed or seem a little bit dimmer, which is too bad. But it's
I've
still
also
very.
heard that Dawn was a film that it was kind of shot like that. So it's one of those movies that'd be kind of hard to.
But at the same
really
time,
make
like the Dario Argento cut, even that color
Yeah.
seemed brighter. It
Yeah, but I've
seemed
also
to
heard
stick out more.
that transfer on that set is not the best. I've even heard like the Anchor Bay transfer is better. So
yeah, I'm not the best when it comes to that, but I believe it. But it was still a really wonderful gift.
But at least they
and
didn't like
glad to
fuck
have
up with
it.
the color tint like the original release of the the Night of the Living Dead remake from Twilight Time.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they fucked up with the color and made it all blue, and it was bad. But if you're a fan of that one, you can get the Umbrella Entertainment release, which is a much better release anyway. It has a better picture quality.
Cool.
So, just wanted to mention that. It's a big one. It's like right up there, maybe near the top, maybe number one on the list. Two other films for me that are really near the top are two James Cameron films, which I just don't understand. It's like, just get these films on Blu-ray already. Why do we have to wait for Jimmy Cammey to get off his ass and stop thinking about Avatar or whatever, or some new 3D technique or some other fucking shit, or get out of his submarine so we can have Blu-ray releases of True Lies in the Abyss? Why is it up to him? Why is it up to him to supervise the transfer, to do this and what? For fuck's sake, I know he directed those movies, but why does he have to be the one that has to be the end-all be-all when it comes to these movies coming out on home video?
He's a control freak.
I don't trust him anyway, because if he supervised the T2 3D transfer, and the pictures I've seen in that look like shit. They look waxy as hell. They look like the T800 looks like he's in a wax museum. So if he supervised that, then I'm worried about him doing the same with True Lies in the Abyss. So get them away from him so he doesn't do that shit to those movies. I mean, True Lies really does need an upgrade, because even the 720 or 1080p version you can find online is just an upconverted version of the DVD. That's all it is. It's not even actually a remastered print.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. Which is,
and The Abyss doesn't even have an official, like, actual normal non-anamorphic widescreen release. You have to break out the Laserdisc or find a 1080p rip online. which admittedly does look great, and it really does put the film in a whole different light, because you're like, wow, like the visuals are even more impressive because the colors are better and it actually looks the way it's intended to look instead of this faded looking thing, because it wasn't it was they just put the Laserdisc rip onto a DVD like a bunch of lazy assholes. I think they did that with the True Lies release too. And I burped because that just gives me indigestion. It's like, fuck's sake. Every year I hear this. Oh, it's coming out. It's coming out. The Abyss of True Lies. And then nothing happens.
Yeah. I don't know. They deserve it. They're good movies. There's no reason
And of
why.
course you have the Star Wars trilogy. The original unaltered Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, they deserve an official release. It's very much overdue. Don't understand what the deal is
Maybe
now,
Disney and
but
Fox
they
can, well, but I still heard there's some clause in something that even if Disney does buy out Fox, that they still
well they
won't
already
have all
did,
the
right?
rights. Well, they did, but then it kind of hasn't gone through yet. It's kind of complicated.
Well,
But even if there's still something I read that they still don't have the rights or something, which is lame. But because George Lucas, wants to still control that portion of things. Maybe that was in the Disney Lucasfilm contract. George Lucas is like, I'll sell the Lucasfilm to you, but with one condition. You will not release the unaltered original trilogy on Blu-ray. Only our special editions, or only the other versions that I decide I want to come back and edit, or already edit.
Yeah, yeah.
um, are there any films you want to mention?
Okay, I'll mention a couple. The Hitcher
Yes.
with Roger Howard and C.
It
Thomas
is a
Howell.
shame that in the U.S., the only version you can get is this now out of print HBO release. Doesn't really have the best transfer. I mean, this is a classic film, one of Rutger Hauer's best movies. I would say C. Thomas Howell's best film.
Yeah,
Um, one of Eric Red's finest hours, and you got nothing. Nothing in the HBO release. It doesn't even have any features or anything. You can get the DVD from overseas that has
that,
featurettes and stuff, and it's a good DVD. But if you don't have a region-free player, you're shit out of luck.
yeah. And it deserves a Blu-ray. It deserves an upgrade to HD. I mean,
I got super excited when Arrow announced the Hitcher thing. Like they had like the Hitcher, and they had this cover that looked like the type of covers they have for their Blu-rays, and then it was like, oh, it's just a book. It's a book. Fuck the book. Give me the Blu-ray. It might be a good
yeah,
book. I mean, I wouldn't complain if somebody sent me the book or I got my hands on the book, but at this point, it's kind of like fuck the book. Maybe later, oh, the book's cool, but there's no Blu-ray.
yeah, I would much prefer a Blu-ray. Upgrade to HD. Have the old features.
Yeah,
Maybe even ones that you couldn't get for the first time around. It's a classic from the 80s. It deserves much more notice. I mean, the fucking remake has a Blu-ray,
that's a
but
crime.
not the original. It's
That is a damn
ridiculous.
crime.
And it's not even like a movie people can find to get, even if it was a DVD. I don't even know it's on any streaming stuff. I
I don't
mean,
think so.
it's a classic film.
And
It
I
has a
think one of
lot.
the main reasons is because HBO does not give a flying fuck whatsoever about their movies unless it's a really popular film or it's their new TV shows. They don't care.
Yeah, they also released split second HBO DVD long ago, and there's no Blu-ray of that in the US. There's a good one overseas, but
And
you need
yes, it's from
that
Oliver
you need
Krekel or Kekel or Kegel,
S-
whatever the fuck his last name is,
Snap
Colonel,
Crackle or Pop, Snap
who
Crackle or Pop.
totally did an absolutely fucked up job with the Moontrap Blu-ray. And I had a hard time saying Moontrap there because it ah just really
No,
really
yeah,
lights my tail on fire, or my ass on fire when I think about what he did to that movie and his bullshit excuses. Oh, that's not natural. Graydon doesn't need to be there. It shouldn't be there on film. You shouldn't be there doing that shit to that movie. Ass. Thankfully, Split Second's fine. Looks good. I'll give him credit. Maybe he wasn't involved with that. Maybe he had some other guy do it. Maybe that's why it's fine.
maybe. But again, you need a region-free player for that,
Another
I
one I
believe.
would like to see is Nemesis. And I know they released some stuff overseas, but it's still the same all over. And I heard like the picture quality is shitty.
So up to his old standards, I guess.
So I'd like to see a
Olivier Gruner,
standalone release of that.
Olivier Gruner film, very good, very underrated. No one talks about Nemesis.
One of the few films by Ali Poon that I like.
That's Albert Pion, for those who don't know who Ali Poon is.
Another film that he
Drive.
did, The Sword and the
Uh,
Sorcerer. I'd like
okay,
to
yeah.
see a Blu-ray of that.
Yeah,
The
it's on
DVD's
DVD.
long out of print and hard to find.
Sword and Sorcerer is a fun movie. It'd be nice to see a Blu-ray of that. Drive from Mark
Yes,
DeCostos.
1,000 times yes.
Doesn't really have it. Well, it had a DVD in the US back in the day,
And I
but
found it for
the
a
spe
dollar inexplicably. I still can't
but
believe I did that recently.
the special edition of it should have a release in the
Yes.
US. And also put it on Blu-ray. It deserves it. It's a great movie. It's for the low budget they used, $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive what they could get away with. Great cast. Martha Costos and T.D. Morrison worked well together. Directed by Steve Wayne, who did Guyver 2 Dark Hero, which is another movie that you
Yeah,
have a
exactly.
Blu-ray
That's
as
another one. I
well.
was going to mention that. Speaking of martial arts movies, Guyver 2 Dark Hero. The Guyver is on Blu-ray from Arrow, but Guyver 2, nope. That's a much better film.
Yeah, it's much better than the first one. Another one I can mention is The Hunted from 2003,
Yeah.
starring Tom Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro. Pretty much if they adapted the First Blood novel more faithful,
Mm-hmm.
it would be that. Saw that in the theater in 2003. It was a great experience. I was looking on Amazon recently because I wanted to buy the Blu-ray, but shockingly, it's not on Blu-ray. It's only
Not
on
even
DVD.
overseas?
I couldn't find it.
Wow.
I mean, unless I couldn't find anything on The Hunted other than the DVD,
What studio
which I
released
don't
that again?
understand. Paramount, I
Okay.
think. Pair of pricks.
That explains it.
There you go.
Other
So
action films, I think, could get a Blu-ray release. It would be nice to see Angel Town get another something, even just another DVD release, because that's been out of print for so long. Um,
Deadly
another
Outbreak.
Oliver Gruner film, Deadly Outbreak. Yeah, Jeff Speakman. Jeff Speakman double
Street
feature: Deadly
Street Night.
Outbreak and Street Night.
Yes. Thankfully we got the Perfect Weapon Blu-ray. No features. But or do you do a Street Night Daily Outbreak and get Jeff Speedman and just talk about his career?
Yeah,
Talk about his career in movies. I'm sure he'd be willing to sit down after getting over throat cancer, thankfully.
yeah.
Glad that
I'm glad
happened.
he recovered
Got
from that
over
too.
that.
Yeah.
Haven't talked, I mean, concerning Black Eagle, I mean, I know it's Van Damme, but Black Eagle doesn't deserve a Blu-ray to me.
Black Eagle just deserves those cheap direct-to-video releases that it kept getting from all these different other companies because they
Yeah.
could easily get the rights.
Oh.
Yeah.
Another one, personal favorite of mine, The Golden Child.
Yeah.
Of course, because it's Paramount,
Oh, and
but
also
doesn't
Eddie
it have
Murphy doesn't like it, so that's another reason.
Well, tough shit. I don't like Norbit. But the Golden Child doesn't have a Blu-ray, deserves it. I love the film to death.
I think Paramount's been smoking too many scrolls. I think we need to paddle their ass till it bleeds.
Exactly. And also, it's on Blu-ray, but it needs a better one. Predator.
Yes.
There's a nice guy named Mr. Movie recently, day
Hmm.
ago. He said he saw a new 2K remastered version made in 2016 for French theaters. I
Wow.
guess he
What?
lives in France. He said a new 2K remastered
Huh.
version, and he said it was absolutely beautiful.
Maybe they'll do that before the Predator comes out. Maybe.
I I don't hold my breath for Fox doing that. I mean, because it'd be nice. So I don't
It'd be
see it
nice to
happening
get
because
see
I'm
Predator 2
cynical.
get a remaster too. If you're gonna do one, you might as well do both.
But especially the first one.
Yeah.
Like I actually don't think the Predator 2 Blu-ray looked that bad. That's just me though. But the Predator
No, but
1,
if you're
I
gonna
mean,
do one in 2K or
but
4K,
yeah,
I mean,
the 2K, sure, do both. I would love to see that. I don't
so
see
would
them
I.
doing it, but sure.
Speaking of another sequel that's not on Blu-ray, The Fly 2. That's only on DVD. I think the only way you can get on Blu-ray is overseas in like a
I,
pack
I
with the
didn't even
other
know
Fly
that.
films. Yeah,
Huh.
I didn't know that either. I looked it up. Nope, never got a Blu-ray release in the U.S.
That sucks.
It does.
It's only on the overseas, you said?
Yeah, and I think it's only like in a pack with the other Fly movies.
Another one I'll choose, Runaway, Tom Selleck.
There's an overseas release, but once again, gotta get a region-free player. So
Oh, of Runaway?
yeah,
I didn't know that, but I mean, you can at least have an interview with Tom Selleck. He likes the movie. He likes the character. He even did a written interview where he said he liked the
that's
movie.
cool.
I mean, he thought it was a fun film. Do a Blu-ray
Yeah.
Runaway. In
Maybe
Deep
interview Gene
Rising,
Sim- Sim- Gene Gene
Gene
Simons.
Simmons.
Gene
Gene
Simons.
Simmons.
I mean, there's a Blu-ray of Never Too Young to Die for fuck's sake, and there's no Blu-ray of Runaway in the U.S.
Runaway definitely deserves it. I mean, Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons is his first movie role. I guarantee he'd be willing to talk
Yeah.
about it. And I
Speaking of
was going
Gene
to say, a deep,
Simmons, Trick or
yeah,
Treat, Blu-ray
okay,
release in the
yeah.
U.S. with a much better transfer, better audio, because the German release is out of print, and the audio is terrible. Like it's worse than the DVD in the U.S. that I think was just a VHS burned onto the DVD. The picture quality's better, but the audio sucks, and that's a film that relies heavily on its audio, so it's not a good combo.
For me, another one, Watchers 1 and 2.
Yes, hopefully
I
Vestron
mean,
Collector Series does
it was
that.
really, they did a great job with Watchers 1 and 2. Very
Hmm.
cool to see those. I'm hoping we'll see Watchers 1 and 2. If 3 and 4, I mean, I don't mind 3, but if that doesn't get it, I'm fine. 4 sucks. Watchers 1 and 2, those two deserve it.
Totally.
From hopefully Vestron does that in the future.
Hope
The
so too.
Unnameable, someone said they were doing it, then that disappeared, so I don't know what happened. But the
Yeah, no, I told
Unnameable,
you that. Like there was some company that I never heard of that had it on their
and
list for this year,
yeah,
but
disappeared thin air. I would love to see the Unnameable. I mean, this
the
didn't even
sequel's
get a
on
DVD.
DVD.
Yeah, I don't mind the sequel, but I like the first one more. That deserves some release.
Agree.
Oh, there was what was it, Unnameable? Oh, there was something else.
Yeah, one I can come up with off the top of my head is Dead Alive. Peter Jackson's Dead Alive.
Yes,
One of the best zombie movies. It's in the same level, same tier as Dawn of the Dead by Romero and other films like that. And it had a release by Lionsgate years ago that went out of print, and nothing else. Like I this is something that screams Arrow Video to me. Like I can really just see Arrow Video just knocking it out of the park with a Dead Alive release. I don't know what the holdup is. Apparently, in a feature on one of the Hobbit DVDs, there was something that Peter Jackson was like remastering Dead Alive and like Meet the Feebles and some stuff, but I haven't really heard anything about that since then. So maybe this is another one of those things like with The Abyss and True Lies. Well, Peter Jackson feels like he needs to be the one that's behind everything and needs to be one that remasters everything and so on and so forth. But he rarely has the time to do it. And if he does have the time to do it, he probably would rather be doing something else. So unless you hand that off to somebody else, we might not see Dead Alive on Blu-ray or Brain Dead, which is its other title, which is bullshit. That's a legendarily epic movie.
I agree.
It deserves a remastered Blu-ray with a ton of features and everything. And I guarantee it would sell really well.
Another movie I would pick, Maximum Overdrive.
Yes. I know
Doesn't
there's
even
some
have a
Japanese Blu-ray, but it's hard to find and it's expensive.
I know Stephen King hates it. I don't care. It's the best thing he's done in a while. Well, I mean,
Maybe you should
I
make more
love it.
movies when he's all coked up.
I love Maximum Overdrive. I would love to see the uncut version. We'll never see
Yeah.
it, but I would love to. And I'm not looking for features because everyone would just shit on the movie. But at least have an HD,
Yeah.
Blu-ray, not just the DVD or the 2-pack with that and raw deal.
Which is just a random ass double feature.
Yeah,
I think the only reason why they're together is because they're both DEG Entertainment movies.
yeah, Dino De Laurentiis.
That's the only reason why. Speaking of Dino, King Kong, the 1976 film. There is a Blu-ray from overseas, but there isn't one in the U.S. And I feel this is a film that was a huge event movie in 1976. It made a good amount of money. It wasn't a bomb, and it won an Oscar for best makeup effects or the best special effects. So I'm like, why don't we have a Blu-ray of that? The remastered picture and sound and maybe interviews with some people. Commentary track. I don't know if they can have a commentary track because I don't know if John Gilman is still alive. But
Right.
regardless, I mean, they missed an opportunity to release that around the same time as as Skull Island. Maybe it's Paramount again. They don't care.
They never care.
That should just be like their tagline. Paramount, we don't care. We don't give a shit.
Another one, Death Machine.
Yes.
I know there's a Blu-ray limited.
I have the steelbook, which is limited to what, 2,000 copies, like some really low number, and it's really cool, but it's Region B.
And there's no more.
There's no
Because
more.
limited. That's a movie that in the U.S. you only have a shitty full-screen crap fest. You can get the DVD overseas, but then you need region free.
Mm-hmm.
That deserves a Blu-ray in the U.S. This director who did Blade,
Yeah.
Stephen Norrington, underrated movie. Found that out from my friend Mike and Effrey here, and saw it back in the day. Loved it.
I loved it when I first saw it in the shitty full screen DVD.
That's how I first saw it.
And it was one of those films that was on the Fangoria's 101 Most Unheralded Horror Films list in a book. And this is when Netflix, I still was signed up, and this is before they did all the streaming thing. It was just exclusively a DVD in the mail service. And I got Death Machine. I remember watching it in my room on my Xbox, and I really enjoyed it. So...
And we were talking about Paramount before, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift.
Yes.
I know there's a Blu-ray overseas. I grabbed it. Picture looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it deserves a Blu-ray in the U.S.
Another one,
I've seen
April Fool's
much
Day.
shittier movies get a Blu-ray. And the April Fool's Day, I guess technically has a Blu-ray, maybe. But
It does?
whether I don't know. I don't know if it does. I was just saying in case it does. If it doesn't, yes, it does. It deserves a special edition either way.
Yeah.
And it does deserve special edition Blu-ray. There's many shitty slasher films that got it. Uh, April Fool's Day is a good one,
But it's
and it
Paramount.
deserves it.
It's we don't give a shit, and we're a pair of
Paramount.
pricks.
Streamers.
Yes, the fucking sequel, the direct-to-video sequel has a Blu-ray, but not the first movie.
I don't even know if it has one overseas.
No, it's Sony probably. They don't really. They also, we also don't give a shit.
Great underrated movie with Peter Weller.
Yes.
Avoid the sequel. Mike didn't even know recently that they kill off Peter Weller's character,
No, I did not know
but they
that.
do off screen,
Pulled
like
a
in
Kickboxer
dialogue.
2. Don't pull
But
a
if
Kickboxer 2. Don't do
there's
that.
Streamers is a great flick. Is Toys on Blu-ray?
I don't think it is. No. That's another one I do feel deserves a Blu-ray. It's a beautiful film. Like, that deserves to be remastered. It has some of the most gorgeous production design I've ever seen in a movie. Like, that deserves to be remastered and seen in HD. I mean, Robin Williams has passed away. I mean, and I felt that film, and there were other films that captured his spirit really well, but I thought that film in particular did a really good job of capturing the spirit of Robin and, that childlike innocence.
The hell is the DVD out of print?
I think so. Yeah.
It's like one for $10, then 18,
Yeah.
26, then 50.
Yeah, you learn something new every day.
Toys definitely deserves it. I don't think Judgment Night has a Blu-ray in the U.S.
No.
There's one overseas,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Yeah, there's a yeah, there is because I have it. But
Trespass has one.
but Judgment Night's better. So
Judgment Night's a better version of Trespass in multiple different ways.
House on Haunted Hill from 1999
Yeah.
doesn't have a Blu-ray in the U.S. Just has one overseas.
Doesn't this shitty sequel have a Blu-ray? I know it has an HD DVD. Maybe I'm getting confused. That's it, probably.
I would have to look it up.
Aberration.
Yes, from 1997. It's a underrated film I found out from my
Diamond in the
friend Mike
Rough.
here.
That I don't think deserves to be forgotten about and lost to the sands of time. And it will be if it does not get at least a release on home video somewhere, or even in streaming in the U.S. I think there is some streaming thing in the U.S., but I don't know if it's still available or not.
I have no idea either. It deserves. That's an underrated film from 1997. Really good creature feature flick. And yes, Return to House on Haunted Hill was on Blu-ray. They have a multi-format
That's
here
just
from 2007. It
that's
says.
lame.
But speaking of, you mentioned Aberration. Uh, Deep Space
Yes.
doesn't even have a DVD.
No.
Charles Napier.
The
There's like a
VHS looks like somebody smeared Vaseline all over the print. It's awful. At least the
Yes.
one in the U.S. and it's dark and you barely see anything. But then the release overseas on VHS, like even the German release has better picture quality. And I think apparently there was something on Netflix at one point in time that was streaming. And I know this because I saw it, but and it had better picture quality, but it came and went. Much like another film that should be on Blu-ray, Fright Night Part 2, which was on
Yeah,
Amazon Video for like a few days, and then it was off.
that's strange. Like why? Like so, as if some kind of miscommunication or something.
Yeah.
Friday Night Part 2, it's a good movie. That deserves it. Get the rights fixed up. The Changeling.
Yes, that's another one. There's a Japanese Blu-ray, but I heard it's not that good in terms of the picture quality.
Oh,
So,
it figures.
and it's rare. So,
Some, I mean, I'm just looking up a few. Stakeout.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss, Emilio
That
Estevez.
was one of the highest grossing films of that year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was one of the surprise hits. I mean, it got a sequel. Sequel has a Blu-ray. Another
Because
Stakeout
it's
has a
Mill
Blu-ray.
Creek.
And yet the first, fine, they can get this first one.
Yeah.
But the first one is a great flick.
Yeah.
No Blu-ray, but the sequel has a Blu-ray. It's like the Unnameable. The second one has a DVD. The first one, I mean, I
Rad.
don't. Yes. Thunder in Your Heart.
There was supposed to be a documentary, and then nothing really came of that.
I don't know what
Yeah,
happened
I don't
with
know what
that
happened with that
documentary.
either. But Rad, it's like who well, the rights are up in the air. I've heard rumors that Talia Shire has the rights and hates the movie, and that's why it's
Why
not
would she
being.
have the
Yeah,
rights?
I know it doesn't make any sense. That's a rumor.
Oh,
I've also heard that Sony, and if that's the case, we'll probably never see it.
she was Sony,
um, and that's too bad because that's a cult classic, and that has a pretty big fan base. So it's like, what are you waiting for? And then I've heard things like, oh, it's the music. Well, stop being tightwad and just pay for fucking music rights.
With the Teddy of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
They got finally on Blu-ray, and that has the soundtrack intact. Has Janet Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
Faith No More, Epic.
Yeah.
Has all the songs on there, and look good on Blu-ray.
Stop being cheap. And another film that's not on a Blu-ray and it was never even on DVD, just like Rad, Gleaming the Cube.
That's right, Gleaming the Cube. There was a DVD overseas
It's
that
on
I
print.
have.
And I think there's an American release, but it's like extremely rare.
But yeah, this Gleaming the Cube is a good movie with Richard Slater. I think it's one of my favorite movies with Richard Slater in it. It's a really good one. There's lesser known movies. There's Murder by Phone, aka
Yes. Didn't
Bells.
even get a DVD release.
Nope, no DVD, just on VHS in the US,
I mean,
rather than the
Deadly Eyes has a
clamshell.
Blu-ray. Deadly Eyes, where the rats were just dogs that had like fake rat costumes put on top of them.
Yeah, and Murder by Phone is a lot better than fucking Deadly Eyes. Also, with that, God, I was on the tip of my tongue. Um, Blue Monkey, Steve
Yeah.
Railsback. Also, I don't think this movie's on Blu-ray. A Low Down Dirty Shame.
Yeah.
Tina Every Wayans.
That's a
Good
fun
action
one.
movie.
Blank
Fun
Man's not on
flick.
Blu-ray either. The Meteor Man's on
That,
Blu-ray, but no Blank Man.
another one, Warning Sign
Yeah, totally.
from the 80s. Great flick. Doesn't have a Blu-ray, deserves it. Also, a underrated one called Rituals with Hal Holbrook.
I think there's a release coming. I think.
There was, but the not anymore because like all the materials are on. I have to look elsewhere for better materials, so it
Uh,
got canceled.
uh,
So there was, but well, these materials aren't good enough, so I gotta try to find elsewhere. So
that sucks.
hey, what can you do?
Yeah.
Does Iron Eagle have a Blu-ray?
No,
That's what I thought.
which
I know
is really strange.
that.
Maybe it's the score. I mean, maybe it's the music, the soundtrack,
Hmm.
and then another one, The Keep.
It's because of Stefan Peter. That's why. That's why there's no Blu-ray.
This is a purple people
They,
eater motherfucker.
they got annoyed by Stefan Peter, so they said
Yeah.
we're not releasing it because fuck you, Stefan Peter.
Well,
You
you think he's
Peter
working on a
Pecker,
documentary?
motherfucker.
I don't know what happened with that. I think he was trying to do a Kickstarter, a Indiegogo, or something.
They got pissed at him too. They're like, "Fuck you, Stefan Peter. You Peter Pecker picture, Peter Pecker motherfucker." Still remember when you said that. For those who don't, it's always a fun story with Stefan Peter. Well,
Stefan
not really fun for you, but
Stefan Peter is infamous to me because he shut down one of my channels on YouTube. I had a channel, I think it was OCP003, and this is when I first started trying to do reviews and had trailers and other stuff. And I made my own custom special edition of The Keep, and I posted some of the features and stuff that I was doing that I put on the disc, including a tribute I made that didn't use anything from his website. But I dared to use some photos from his website in slideshows. And so he sent me this long essay-long fucking comment message, and I didn't read all of it because it was way too fucking long. And he was saying shit like, "Oh, you're infringing upon copyright. These are my things," and blah 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 blah. And I buffed him off. I was like, "Whatever, he doesn't have the rights to this." It's like this one Australian guy who put a watermark on all his Aussie Roadshow trailers
oh yeah,
and was acting like, "Oh, I own them." It's like, no, just because you have the tapes and you ripped them doesn't mean you own the rights to those trailers.
that's like if you took trails and put OCP2 mutations.
I did, and I still got
I
copyright
know
claims.
exactly. That's what I was leading to.
I don't own them. I own the rights to
Exactly.
them. And so, but because YouTube, I guess back then was a little bit more. That's one thing I got to give YouTube credit for. They're less likely to shut down your channel like immediately if somebody tries to send in some request or some flag or whatever. Like they really want some confirmation nowadays. Back then they didn't really have a lot of that apparently. So some guy could
Right.
just say, "Oh, that's mine," and then send a copyright strike, and then your channel will go down in flames. So that's apparently what Stefan Peter did. I woke up one morning, and then the dreaded "your channel has been suspended for copyright infringement" or whatever. I was like, what? And then I didn't try to get it back because I probably couldn't. Nowadays it would be like an immediate, "Oh, fuck you. Go ahead and try to do shit. I'm going to fight it." Um, But yeah, I was very understandably pissed because that was a channel that I felt was starting to build some kind of audience, and I was starting to do different things like reviews and stuff. And there comes this fucking asshole who's all like, "Oh, those are my, that's my property. Those are my copyright. I own the copyright." It's like you don't own shit, Stefan, Peter,
Purple people eater.
Purple People Eater, motherfucker. You don't own shit. Are you Paramount? Are you Parapricks? No, you're just a prick, okay? You don't own the rights to the keep. Just because you have memorabilia doesn't mean you own the rights to that memorabilia.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe that's why the keep isn't on Blu-ray. He's to blame.
Blame it on him.
But really, what I've heard is a combination of things. It's Tangerine Dream being tightwads and not really letting companies get the rights to the film to release it because they want too much money for their music or the score or whatever. Which maybe is why Rad, because they did some music for Rad too, I think. And then, but then I'm like, well, they did a bunch of music for these other like Legend. No, that I think it was a different. No, I think that was Tangerine Dream, Legend, and a few other films that got Blu-rays. So what's their deal? Like I kind of don't buy that because there's a lot of films that have come out with.
Didn't they do Thief? They got a
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
there's a lot of films that they've done scores for that are on Blu-ray. So I don't know if I necessarily buy that.
Miracle Mile
Yeah,
got a Blu-ray, and that was Tangerine Dream.
Near Dark, which needs a new Blu-ray because that Blu-ray, come on, make it look like it's fucking Twilight. It's not Twilight.
A new cover, you
A
mean?
new cover. Well, even a new release too, because that's out, and
Yeah.
that's an out of print release.
Oh, okay.
So,
Altered States?
yeah, it's a decent Blu-ray. I have it.
Oh, I didn't know it was on Blu-ray. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray. I have it. I got it recently.
Okay. Never
It's from
mind.
Warner
I
Brothers.
didn't know that.
But going back to the Keep, another thing I've heard is Michael Mann just doesn't like the movie. And
Hmm.
any attempt that people tried to do to get the film on DVD and Blu-ray, he's gotten in the way because he feels ashamed of it or some shit. I don't know. But then I've heard other people say, no, like, it was, Michael Mann was at like a screening of something, and people asked him about the Keep, and he said it's not the case, and I don't know, but maybe he just says that to save face, but really behind closed doors, it's like, fuck the Keep. That shit is never coming out on Blu-ray as long as I'm alive. It's on Netflix streaming. It's a decent quality, but I want it on home video and I want it on a collector's edition. If Scream Factory got the right, they would do it. This was one of the first films they tried to release.
Oh,
Was
okay.
The Keep. They tried to get the rights for and failed.
Hmm.
Child's Play films, Child's Play 2 and 3, I would really like to see collector's editions, but knowing Universal and their recent cash grab box set of the films they just released, I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Other films I think deserve better on Blu-ray. The Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I feel those films deserve a box set, just like the Halloween films. Standalone releases in their own cases. New transfers, new interviews. Maybe not even new interviews. I mean, you could just have Never Sleep Again there. But I definitely think those deserve better.
Well, I mean, new Blu-rays. I mean, yeah, the
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle movies, the old ones,
Yes.
deserve much better. And use the pictures from the movies, not just all for the third fucking movie.
with
And
the
get inter
with the buck tooth turtles.
butt teeth, fucking black spotted, diseased looking motherfuckers. They're dying.
The mutagen is backfiring.
It's melting from Cuffs. There's a
Yeah, they
movie
were
called
only.
It's Melting.
Is that on Blu-ray?
I don't think so. That's why it popped in my head. I'm not. I don't think that movie. For those who don't know, that's a underrated Christian Slater film. Cuffs. It's on a DVD. Doesn't. No, it does not have a Blu-ray. And also another one with Patrick Dempsey. Run.
Yeah,
Good
I don't even think
flick.
that's on DVD.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's only on. I don't know overseas, but not in the U.S. Because I was only able to see it. Someone nice enough sent me a DVD-R.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good one. Only yeah, only on VHS. And
I heard The Dark Side of the Moon's gonna get a Blu-ray, but then I really haven't heard much else other than it's on a list.
oh, Run was on a Region 2 DVD. That's $128. So
Woo!
there you go. Oh, the Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, those the same as the Unnameable, same
Oh,
company.
so I guess it's not happening now.
I they said nothing. Is Men at Work on Blu-ray?
I don't think so.
If not, that's a fun comedy with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. That
Mm-hmm.
deserves it. That's a good flick.
That's where you get the golf clap.
Yeah.
It is on Blu-ray. It's a double feature with Easy Money.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a strange double feature, but okay.
Yeah, Shout Factory did it
Huh.
apparently, but like early in their release schedule, so there's nothing really in terms of features or anything.
Body Parts with
Yes,
Jeff Fahey.
1,000 times yes. The DVD's out of print, expensive. Love to see that on Blu-ray.
And Men at Work still, because this is all in one fucking disc. You give it a separate disc. Come on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But and that's off the top of our heads.
Yeah, I mean, this is just all off the top of our heads, folks. There's probably some that might be missing. we might
I don't.
think of later.
I can't even think if 48 Hours is on Blu-ray. I
Hmm.
have to imagine it is, but it at least deserves a special edition.
I don't even
But I
think
don't.
the DVD is really a special edition.
No, the DVD's not a special edition. Okay, 48 Hours is on Blu-ray, but there's no features
It has shitty cover art.
and shitty cover art. And that's such a classic movie.
It looked like they just recreated the title for that true crime show, 48 Hours.
Oh my god.
It's so bad.
It is.
Trying to think of anything else. Probably something will pop up like in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, that one, yeah.
3 Men and a Baby. I thought it was
Yeah.
on Blu-ray, but it wasn't a real case. It was just fucking two-bill DVD with the shitty sequel. But Tom Selleck, Steve Gutenberg, I love 3 Men and a Baby. That deserves it.
Crocodile Dundee by itself.
I mean, it's on separate disc at least, but at least maybe with features.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Film called Nightlife, aka Great Misdemeanors, only on
Yes.
VHS.
That's a good pick. Another one that's only Lighthouse. I've heard good things about that one. It's also known as Dead of Night, and it's only on a out of print U.S. release on DVD, and yeah, fairly hard to come by Region B release on DVD.
Another one which I think is on DVD and one of those Warner Archive, but My Demon Lover.
Yeah, sounds like an ideal Scream Factory release. They
Yeah.
release some Warner Brothers flicks. I mean, they're doing of Unknown Origin, which is nice.
Uh, And how about a Blob without Twilight Time? I mean, I know this is
Umbrella
Umbrella
Entertainment.
Entertainment, but
That's a good, and but it's Region B, I think. But then I heard something like it isn't, like it says it is, but I don't know. I don't know for sure.
I don't know if What About Bob is on Blu-ray.
I don't think so. It's just DVD.
Well, there you go. What About Bob? The Bill Murray film.
Arachnophobia is, but it's I have not seen that anywhere. Like,
I have the Blu-ray.
yeah, but I haven't seen it like in. It's pretty cheap apparently, which is good. I'll get that later. But like, it's not anywhere that I go in the wild. Like, it's nowhere to be found.
Right.
Plus, it honestly I feel deserved a better Blu-ray anyway. But that's just me.
No, I agree. It deserves better.
But that's a whole nother argument. Films that deserve better on Blu-ray. So, I think I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. So, and I think we've definitely taught people's ears off enough. I might split this into its own separate thing because this went on pretty long, just talking about
Yeah.
stuff that wasn't on Blu-ray. Just before we go, I want to mention an upcoming release that I'm really looking forward to, and I really hope they do a great job with this. And I have faith that they will. The upcoming Blu-ray release of Batman the Animated Series, which I really am looking forward to that. And I hope they got all kinds of new features and stuff, and poured over the old features, and remaster the picture and the sound. It's one of the best animated series out there, especially the first two seasons. So, and I know I'm not the only one that's really excited for that. So, and apparently it's not Warner Archive. Like, they did Mask of the Phantasm, but apparently Warner Brothers themselves, they're doing this. So it's good to hear. So, I know Matt's not super big on the show, so. But for those of you
I
who
like
are,
the show. I just haven't seen a lot of it.
and that was just trying to get my cat to stop getting into shit. And that's a signal that it's time to go. Well, anyway, thank you for listening to this
Wha-
podcast.
One last
Um,
Blu-ray.
okay.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
I'm a big fan of that movie. I'd love to see a Scream Factory or Shout Factory, a Shout Select edition of that. Um,
And Rapid Fire
yeah,
or Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee.
There you go. Just had to add those two in there.
But and I could even argue The Mask had an older release, but it could use a remaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a ton of things. But we've listed off the ones that we could
But
think
that's the
of off the
thing
top of our list.
when people say there's no other movies to get, yes there is.
Yeah.
There's plenty of movies you can put on Blu-ray. They haven't run out.
No.
That's why you should be doing shit like Deranged or whatever the fuck that movie was.
Demented.
What was it? Demented. That's what it was. Demented. Where the fuck it was. Deranged is a different movie.
It's a different film. But anyway, thank you all for listening to this podcast, and we will see you later. You can hear
Bye-bye.
us some other time. See ya.